And what's up, everybody? We're back with another episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this means that I got some podcast network channel access back. Basically, what had happened there is when I got YouTube Premium, because I just got YouTube Premium recently. I got YouTube Premium, and it logged me out of all of my YouTube accounts, which included the Pringleson Podcast Network. And this wasn't a problem, except for the fact that I'm not the owner of Pringleson Podcast Network. That honor goes to Jeffy. And I don't know Jeffy's email, obviously. So I had to wait until going in and waiting until Jeffy had the time to come over and log me in to Pringleson Podcast Network channel, which thankfully happened just a couple of days after I'd found out what the issue was. So we were able to get that sorted. So that's why the last episode came out a little later on Pringleson Podcast Network than normal. And that's why it had found its spot.
He realized that he didn't have it until after we recorded it. So
yeah, I started uploading it on the only account that I could find. I'm like, wait, this isn't Pringleson Podcast Network. Oh shit, I don't have access to that anymore. I wonder why. But we're all good now, so that should be solved, which is awesome because there's a lot to go over. So we're gonna go over a lot of that today. The Super Bowl happened. NASCAR is back. There's been some major pickups and trades and fights and all this other sort of stuff. So we've got a lot to go over today. But first, as always, we're going to start off with a little bit of trivia. I came up with a couple more trivia questions to get at least the next couple episodes covered, starting today. Gary, this is in honor of the Super Bowl just happening.
Great.
It's a football question today. Double overtime is a normal overtime limit for most sports, basketball, NASCAR, hockey, baseball, technically, even though it's structured a little different. But in football, at least in the NFL, it's pretty rare. In fact, it's because double overtime is only possible in the playoffs. So, how many times in NFL history has a double overtime game happened? Bonus points if you can name the games that it happened. Don't look it up.
My sister just texted me about a certain thing, so I just was gonna say yes to her. So, I'm gonna go with. You want me to give the percentage out?
No, don't give a percentage. Gary, the percentage is so minuscule you'll never get it or even get even close. Just name how many games have gone to double overtime in NFL history. Bonus points, again, if you can name the games, the matchups, I should say, that they happened in. And remember, they only
be here for a while.
Double overtime is only possible in the playoffs. That is your little hint.
Yeah, because someone has to win.
And no game has ever gone to triple overtime. Just so you know.
So I'm gonna go with a rare number out there. I'm gonna go with you know what? Since Friday the 13th is happening soon, the 13th. 13.
Correct answer.
Back to my losing streak, guys. Back to my losing streak.
Actually, 6. Only 6 times has it ever happened in NFL history. The first one was in 1962. It was the AFL Championship, Dallas versus Houston. So I would have accepted 5 because that technically didn't happen until after the AFL-NFL merger. But it counts anyways. The next one was 1971 divisional round, Miami versus Kansas City. The 1977 divisional round, Oakland versus Baltimore, what was then called the Baltimore Colts. 1986 divisional round, the Browns versus the Jets. And then in 2003 in the divisional round, when the Panthers beat the Rams. And then the final one, or most recent one, 2012 divisional round, when the Ravens beat the Broncos. So really, I would have accepted 5 or 6, but you said 13, so you weren't close at all. Cool little piece of trivia there. Pretty sweet. So I have one more piece of trivia, and then I'll think of some more for later episodes. But anyway, enough of that. We got a lot to talk about this week. My God, where do we even begin?
A lot.
Where do we even begin? There's a lot of stuff to go over in each category this week.
Correct.
Did we go bottom up?
I feel like we should.
Did we go bottom up last?
Up. We're gonna go bottom up.
Did we go bottom up last week, or did we go top down? I try and alternate it. So we go top down and then go bottom up. Top down, bottom up. I think we went bottom up.
Was there anything on? See, guys, let me tell you, this is actually the hardest thinking we've ever done on this podcast.
Okay, we're gonna go. I think
we went bottom up last time.
All right, so do you want to go top down? I mean, just start with the Super Bowl, I guess.
Yeah, we'll just start with that.
Well, first, actually,
the Super Bowl and then.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that, but first I want to talk about one NCAA football thing that came up. It's very sad news. The city of Detroit no longer has a bowl game.
Can't have anything.
After 29 years, the game is gone. It was formerly called the Motor City Bowl, Little Caesars Bowl, Quick Lane Bowl, and then most recently the Game Above Sports Bowl. But it's gone. No more. It's very sad, honestly, and kind of crazy that I attended the last version of it. The last Game Above Sports Bowl.
If you think about it, I think it's because of Ford Field. And I think it's because Ford Field's owners don't want certain things. And I'm not just saying that because, Lions are not doing so good. The Michigan Panthers used to play at Ford Field, a.k.a. the UFL League. They literally went to the championships last year. And now they're not playing anymore. Because of the place. I mean, it's and then this is just astounding.
Well, to be fair, I can see where they're coming from with getting rid of it, and I don't. It's not a very highly attended bowl game. Bowl games in general, there's been a few bowl games that have been around for a while that are starting to fall off. This was, I think, like the third one in the last year or so that's been going away. It's not very highly attended. The sponsors weren't great. The matchups were normally not that good. It's usually
only Big Ten versus MAC.
Yeah, it's a lower tier. It's always a lower tier Big Ten team, a 7 or 6 win Big Ten team, going up against 7 or 6 win, maybe 8 win MAC school. So normally
that's what Central
turns into a blowout. Just like it was this year, Northwestern absolutely destroyed Central Michigan. Now, the year before that, there was like a 5 overtime classic. So sometimes, they've gotten some good ones, but I don't know if it was necessarily all Ford Field's decision. I just think maybe Game Above was pulling out their sponsorship and they couldn't find anybody more, and I think that was a big reason why. But Ford Field probably came in and said, yeah, we just don't want to host it anymore because it's more work than it needs to be, especially since it's always right around Christmas. So Lion season's coming to an end, but it's also a busy time for the employees, obviously Christmas and the New Year's and all that stuff. So
and I can see I think a 2 weeks or 3 weeks before you have the MAC championship, where you're going to have a lot of more people there for, their college, so I mean, like,
That's also true.
oh,
Yeah, it still sucks though. Um, Ford Field's a nice facility, and it definitely deserves a bowl game, and it doesn't have one anymore.
I played on that field.
So did I.
Long story short, I played on that field.
Oh,
Flag football.
I did not play flag football. I got to run a 40-yard dash on the Lions field. I don't remember my
And I
time
got to
because
come
I was
out
like
of
10.
the locker room and got to come out of the locker room, know that Matthew Stafford walked on that field, Calvin Johnson walked on that field, and just to know that that field hasn't seen a Super Bowl championship trophy. Anyways, let's continue.
Actually,
The Super Bowl.
remember, Ford Field hosted a Super Bowl. The Lions weren't in it, but the Ford Field
Not
hosted.
that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not what I'm talking about.
Drew.
Lions haven't won a Super Bowl.
All right, so that's all the college stuff that I had, football related. Now let's get to the NFL. One of the four big elephants in the room. So the season is over. I mean, the Super Bowl was an absolute dud. I was hoping for a good game, but I think this just really showed that the Patriots had a very, very cupcake playoff run. They got to play the Chargers and the Texans at home, and then they went on the road to a Denver squad without Bo Nix. Almost did not win. And then they show up to a Seahawks team that's fully healthy and has just as good as a defense as Denver did. And they got trounced. Drake May looked like complete dog shit until the fourth quarter. And even in the fourth quarter, he didn't look that great outside of a couple of throws. The Seahawks defense was absolutely relentless. And this was with the Patriots offense really doing Patriots defense really doing everything they could to keep the Patriots in the game. The Seahawks did not look that great on offense. They had one or two good drives. That was really it. But that defense was just so relentless. And it was pretty crazy to watch. Boring as hell. Pretty crazy.
And why don't you tell me who the Super Bowl MVP was?
That's right, baby. First time in 28 years, the Super Bowl MVP is a running back, and it's no other running back than MSU's own Kenneth Walker, K9. Almost 100 yards on the night. Was really the life of the Seattle offense for most of the game. And very much deserved. K9's had a great season. He's had a great NFL career so far, and he gets a ring. It's really awesome. So
I'm definitely buying that ring. I'm definitely buying that ring after I get your 2 rings that you got for fantasy football, which I'm very sad.
Well, first
that I haven't won since 2021.
All right, Gary. We need to go over your spending priorities here. A, you have to pay me back for all the tickets that I bought for the hockey games. B, you got to get me my rings for fantasy football.
I thought I already did that for your Toledo, but
you might have done it for Toledo, but you still got to pay me back for the other one we're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to.
And then C, then you can get whatever else you want. All right, that's priority number C.
Nah, I think that's priority number B.
What else is there to say about the game? Halftime show was good. Admittedly, I did not watch the Turning Point USA halftime show, but I heard it was dog shit, as expected. But the actual halftime show was pretty good. Bad Bunny, even though I didn't understand a word he was saying, was really good. Lady Gaga was there, which was a little weird. I didn't feel like they really worked well together, but oh well. And then the other guy, I think I don't remember who the other guy was. There was another performer. I think it was maybe Ricky Martin. I don't know. I couldn't really tell. But I thought it was a really good halftime show. Not the best, but far from the worst. I enjoyed it. It was probably the best part of the game, honestly. The commercials were fine. Most of them were AI or gambling related, which was a little disappointing. But there were a few good ones pointed in there too. So overall, a pretty forgettable Super Bowl, especially for Super Bowl 60. But the Seahawks did deserve to win, so I can take solace in knowing that. They deserve to win the game. They were the best team all year, and they were the best team in the playoffs, and they were the best team in this game. So, can live happy with that one. What do you think, Gary? What do you think of the game?
I'm just happy the Patriots didn't win. Care for both teams going in just because it's not the Lions. I don't care. But, if I had to choose anybody, it would be the Seahawks to win it other than the Patriots. So I'm just happy. I didn't really watch it because I was asleep the entire time. This is probably the first time I've ever watched the Super Bowl at all. So, yeah.
You didn't miss much.
I was a sleepy boy. Of course I didn't.
So, that was the Super Bowl. Boring AF. Now we focus on the offseason, but a couple other things. Congratulations, Matthew Stafford, won MVP. Much deserved, especially after the performance that Drake May put up in the Super Bowl. Definitely picked the right guy for MVP there.
Sam Darnold could have won it, but
you can make an argument, but he didn't even do that good in the Super Bowl either. It was really the defense that carried him. So
I feel like what needs to happen is if there's a guy that's gunning for this MVP award, and they're in the Super Bowl, they should at least hold the MVP award for 1 week to see how he does, and if he does bad, the other guy wins it, so that we could see, okay, who really deserves it,
Well, I think the MVP is only considered for regular season stats because obviously if you have a star player on a bad team, they're not going to be in the playoffs, and that could skew the voting. I think that's how it works. I'm not sure, but I think that's how it works. There has been the NFL coaching carousel has officially closed as well. The last head coaching vacancy got filled. That was the Raiders. They got their new coach, Clint Kubiak. Clint spelled with a K. Kubiak. He will not survive the season. I'm just going to put that out there.
Nope.
He is going to be gone in 8 months.
And I just now realized it. They picked up a former coach last year. Lasted 1 season. Now they're picking up another Seahawks coach. How long do you think this is going to...
Not long. Which sucks.
Exactly my point.
Which sucks for this Kirk guy. Kirk or Kubiak or whatever the fuck his name is. Because it's not his fault. The Raiders have terrible ownership. The team sucks. Their only good player is Max Crosby, and he's going to fuck off because he doesn't want to be here anymore.
Come to Detroit, man.
He wants to.
Hutchinson will be happy.
He wants to come home.
He's from Ypsilanti, Michigan. Come on in. Let's have the 2 best defensive backs of all time on our team. Let's take it.
So, Raiders, good luck. At least your stadium is nice. The only other NFL news that I had, I wanted to go over the 2026 Hall of Fame inductees, which came out. Oh, what the fuck is this article? Pro Football Hall of Fame will go back to in-person voting following the Bill Belichick snub. Yeah, Bill Belichick got snubbed from the Hall of Fame. We talked about that, I think, a couple weeks ago.
Who fucking who? Next.
But the actual class of 2026, Adam Vinatieri, deserved. Luke Kuechly,
Yep.
deserved. Larry Fitzgerald, deserved. Drew Brees, deserved. And Roger Craig. Now, Roger Craig was the one guy I didn't recognize off of this list. Craig,
I have
he was.
I have a thing right here.
Oh, okay. I'll let you explain who Roger Craig is, because I don't know who he is.
So he played 11 seasons for the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Raiders. They were known as the Los Angeles? Okay, never mind. Forget that. Los Angeles Raiders and Minnesota Vikings from 1983 to 1993. He was a three-time Super Bowl champion, the first player to record 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in the same season, and earned multiple All-Pro and Offensive Player of the Year honors. So,
I would call that a deserved induction. But unless you had anything else football related to talk about, Gary, I think that's all I had for football.
nope, that's it for me.
All right, we'll move on to basketball stuff now. Been an up and down week for MSU basketball. Trying to rebound from that Michigan loss. They put up a stinker against Minnesota on the road. Once again, scored under 30 points in the first half. And despite almost completing a furious comeback, they fell to Minnesota 76-73. The second team that
Plus,
is court
Fierce got a
stormed.
lot of hate.
This is the second time that a team is court stormed against MSU this year. Not fun. Yes, and Jeremy Fears got another technical foul for kicking a guy in the balls for no reason. So what does Izzo do? Sits his ass for it, when the game was already over, to teach a lesson. But folks, we knew, and he was talking about like, oh, he's not gonna start. He's got to learn his lesson. I knew that was bullshit the minute that he said that. I also knew it was bullshit because the biggest loss from the Minnesota game was not the game itself. It's the fact that Divine Ugochukwu broke his foot going for a rebound and fell off the court because Minnesota's court is raised. And he fell off the court and he broke his foot and he's out for the year. So that was our backup point guard. So that sucks. He was doing good. Just to fucking rub salt in the wound there. But with that in mind,
That's Minnesota's fault, not State's.
True. Still paying the price for it. Inevitably, life goes on, and I knew that with Ugochukwu out, Fears was no way going to be sat at tip-off against Illinois. Especially with Illinois now being in the top 5. I knew this wasn't going to be the case. And guess what? Fears started. Great lesson you taught there. But it's okay. Fears put up another baller. Really in the second half, he balled out. And guess what? The team scored over 30 points in a half. Woo! And with that being said, that game went to... it was a back-and-forth effort against Illinois. Really, really good game. It seems like every time that we play Illinois, whether it's on the road, at home, or whatever, it's always a dogfight. And this one was no different. We really locked down the freshman kid that's been the star for Illinois. We locked him down for majority of the game. But it still went to overtime, despite Kurt Tang sinking a late 3 to take the lead. We couldn't stop fouling Illinois in the paint, and they tied it up. But we went to overtime and crushed them for the most part. They almost came back. The freshmen sank a 3, and then they got the turnover on the inbound, but then they missed the game-tying three-pointer. So with that being said, MSU did pull off the upset win over Illinois, a top 5 win, 85-82 in overtime. Very good game, basketball, all around.
And Fierce did trip somebody, too.
Fierce did trip somebody, and then they didn't call it a trip. So people are thinking that that was the sole reason why Illinois lost, and not that they over-rely on the 3-ball and they can't build a consistent roster because Brad Underwood can't keep guys around for longer than a season and he only brings in transfers from overseas. That's why Illinois doesn't win national championships. But nobody wants to talk about that. Everybody just wants to talk about the refs.
Well, I mean, we do that in football, so.
True. Big truth. But that was the men's team. Men's team stays at 10 after the upset loss and after the upset win, which I think is fair. So now the women had a rough week as well. They were coming off of the loss to Michigan. They had Maryland in town, a ranked opponent, a chance to change things. They got their ass beat, 86-70. Was not really close after the first quarter, which was a very demoralizing loss. But then they went on the road and they continued to be sluggish. They were down 14 at one point to an unranked Penn State team on the road. But they rallied back in the second half and were able to take the win 81-70. So that puts them with their 20th win of the season. Both teams now, both MSU men's and women's, sit 20-4. The women did fall to 13th. So 10th and 13th in the rankings, still doing really, really well. So good for the ladies to get their stuff back together. They got a hard one tonight against UCLA, which will probably be a loss, but shouldn't affect them too much.
Like I keep saying, Michigan State basketball, Michigan State hockey, Michigan State everything other than football are so good. Why can't we have a good football season like the D'Antonio days? Why can't we have that?
Garry, we're getting there. Don't worry. Don't worry, Garry.
I'm going to keep stressing out. I'm going to look like what we did in Toledo, okay? I'm going to keep doing that until we start winning.
All right, let's move to the pro stuff now. We got a lot of Pistons to talk about. First, they beat the Nuggets 124-121. Then they took an embarrassing L to the Wizards 126-117. But then they rebounded and destroyed the Knicks 118-80.
Fuck you, Knicks.
Then before their most recent game, they finally signed Danish Jenkins to a 2-year standard contract. He was on a 2-way contract before, where he could play in the G League and the NBA. But now he's on a 2-year standard contract, so he's permanently on the Pistons roster. Very much deserved. He's been really good for us this year. But then the Pistons took their actions out to Charlotte last night to play the Hornets, or the other night to play the Hornets. And a brawl ensued. Jalen Duren got fouled going up for a shot, and chaos ensued after that. There were 4 ejections, including 2 Pistons players, Jalen Duren and Mr. Familiar Face in Fights, Isaiah Stewart. Go back to my Malice at the Palace Part 2 vlog that I did a few years ago, if you want more information about that. But also Moussa Diabate and Miles Bridges of the Hornets were ejected from the game. It was a big brawl. It was mostly Diabate and Duren getting involved, and then Bridges started swinging after that. And then the thing was finally starting to simmer down a little bit. Bridges was getting pulled away from the team, and then here comes Isaiah Stewart, just wanting to fucking kill Bridges. Kind of a throwback to what he was. a few years ago. But it did not stop the Pistons from pulling off the win, 110-104. Not a great win considering Charlotte's record, but they were on a 9-game winning streak, so it is a little better in that regard. But so far, there has been no punishments dished out for anybody regarding the fight. We'll see if anything happens. Isaiah Stewart's probably going to get a hefty penalty, seeing that he wasn't even in the game when the fight happened. He ran off the bench to get involved into the fight. But we'll see exactly what goes on there. Currently nothing has happened, but we'll see. Some other basketball action, NBA action, or NCAA action. Charles Bediako was denied his injunction against NCAA eligibility, which now makes him ineligible again to play NCAA basketball. This was controversial because he had come back to Alabama from the G League and had played 5 games. But now he can't do that. He gone. He is gone. No more. So that's that. Also, big upset alert I want to talk about. Arizona finally suffered their first loss of the season, falling to Kansas. 81-77, I think, was the final score. Kansas is kind of on a tear. They jumped into the top 10 this week, and they are going to probably soar with this win. Look out for Bill Self and the Jayhawks, as they are... the fuck was that?
You're haunted.
Anyway. Alright, I don't know what that was. Anyway, other NBA action. The trade deadline was a little later than I had thought. We talked about it in last episode. So there were a few more trades, and I did want to talk about them. James Harden got traded from the Clippers to the Cavaliers for Darius Garland. So Darius Garland and a second-round pick will be coming LA's way, and Cleveland gets James Harden. Have fun with that. The Mavericks traded Anthony Davis to the Wizards. Funny enough, Anthony Davis is out for the year. He hurt his knee for the 50th fucking time in his career, so he's done for the year. Good move there, Wizards. Thought you were going to have Trae Young and Anthony Davis in the backcourt. Nope. Maybe Trae Young, but definitely not Anthony Davis. And then the Warriors traded Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, to the Hawks in exchange for Kristaps Porzingis.
You could just say Porzingis.
Porzingis. I know who Porzingis is, all right? Trying to read his full name.
You said his first name.
Full name here. Okay, that was all the basketball action that I had. I don't know if you had anything else.
Not that I know of, no.
All right, we'll get to hockey stuff now. Hockey's probably our shortest segment today. MSU hockey had a big weekend. They were on the road playing Michigan. 2v1. MSU was up 3-1 in the first game, and then they blew it. They lost 4-3 in overtime. Not fun. But it's okay. They rebounded, and they beat Michigan in regulation 5-2. So they took the most points of the weekend, which was important. MSU went from down a point to Michigan in the Big Ten standings going into the weekend to now being up 2 points on Michigan, and They control their own destiny for the Big Ten title for the third straight year. And MSU has a pretty cakewalk schedule to end the 2025-2026 season. They're on bye this weekend, and then they head home to play Notre Dame and Ohio State, and then they head to Minnesota. If they don't win all 6 of those games, something went wrong. Michigan, on the other hand, has Penn State at home and Wisconsin on the road to end the season. Probably not going to win all those. They could, but they're probably going to split either Wisconsin or Penn State. With Gavin McKenna done for the year, I'm going to say they're probably going to sweep Penn State and then split against Wisconsin. But who knows? We'll see. But it should be an interesting race for the Big Ten in hockey regardless. It's pretty much a 2-horse race at this point. The Red Wings are on their Olympic break, so this is going to be the last time we're going to talk about the Red Wings for a couple weeks. They did have one more game before the Olympic break, and it was against the Mammoth. They lost 4-1. They need the Olympic break bad. They are beat up, and they needed a break, so this was good for them. Other Red Wings news, they announced that the Red Wings will join the Tigers within this new media broadcast deal, so they're not going to be on FanDuel anymore. Not surprising, considering the Red Wings and the Tigers have the same owners, so only makes sense that they keep unified there. Now, this new broadcast deal, while it's going to be going into temporary effect now, won't actually start for the Red Wings until next season. So there's going to be on FanDuel for the rest of the regular season this year. Then they're going to move over. So, believe that's all I had for that stuff.
Other NCAA hockey.
Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, let's talk about Gavin McKenna. He got arrested for assault following the outdoor Penn State MSU hockey game last week, or the other week now at this point. But the charges got dropped, despite him almost killing a guy at a bar. The charges got dropped. But I don't think he's going to play for Penn State the rest of the season. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. But who cares? We don't even play Penn State anymore this year. Whatever. Okay, that's all the hockey news that I had. But Gary's got a lot of K-Wing stuff and other ECHL action to go over, so I'm going to let him take the reins for a couple minutes.
I do. Now, there's one game in particular that's going to be big, and I feel like this is going to be cool. So, the K-Wings lost to Cincinnati in overtime for 5-4 on the 4th. That game, I watched that game. That was pretty sad. It kept going back and forth. So, like that Toledo game, it was just going, they score, we score, they score, we score. And it just kept going back and forth until overtime, where the K-Wings just, how do I say this in respectively, effed up. They got a penalty. Now the Cincinnati Cyclones get the upper advantage on K-Wings. They score, and now they're ahead of the K-Wings in the standings.
Damn.
Then we go against Bloomington. Now, Bloomington is a hard team. They're 4th place in the division. So this is going to be hard. Yeah, we lost 5-2. Here are the 3 stars of that game, though. First star, number 21 for Bloomington. All these guys are from Bloomington, by the way. Number 21, Shane Ott. number 55 for the second star, Nikita Setoff. And the 3-star, number 31, Mark K. I'm just going to say because I can't say his last name. So those were the 3 stars there. Then we have to go up against Bloomington again the next day. Let me tell you, it was pink ice. We have not won a single pink ice game. Okay, remind you. And this time, we beat them. But there was so much hatred against this team. There was fighting in the beginning of the game. There was one K-Wings guy that was in the middle area and was blocking the other guy because the other guy was talking crap to him. And just like they were just back and forth, back and forth. I can tell you something. The K-Wings are going to do good. Like, this is waking them up. They beat Bloomington just like the last game, 5-2. So practically 5-2, both at Wings Event Center. But this time K-Wings beat Bloomington. 1 star goes to number 51, Nolan Walker, for the K-Wings. 2-star, number 28, Zach Akobe, gets the 2-star. And then the 3-star, number 23, Colin Sackerman, gets the 3-star. So that's for that. Give me 1 second here. If you can you delete those messages? I wanted to also put this in the other ECHL. I was watching a game on the 8th. It was the only game that was on. It was Bloomington, the team that we just played, against Fort Wayne. Remind you, Fort Wayne is second place in the division. So this should be hard, right? Wrong. Bloomington shuts out second place Fort Wayne 5-0. This, huh?
Oh.
I watched it and I was like, you can't be serious. How is Fort Wayne getting shut out right now? What the? But it happened, so I mean.
Any given day. What I'm saying. Just like when we went down to Toledo, any given day. Remember when you said that the K-Wings were only going to score 1 goal and then get blown out, and they ended up winning 3-2? Any given
because that's
day,
what
Garry.
usually happens. That's what usually happens.
Any given day.
I get my hopes up.
Okay, so that is, I believe, all the hockey stuff that we had. Is that correct? Did you have anything else, or?
No, that should be it.
Like I said, probably won't be much hockey stuff to talk about next week because the Red Wings are on their Olympic break. MSU's on bye, so cool. Now we got the baseball. Spring training's about to start up, but also lots of moves. But the Tigers, holy shit! Let's get into it. The Tigers have made some moves. We'll first start off with some sad news. In fact, Mickey Lulich passed away at 85 back on February 4th. Rest in peace. So that's the not so fun news. But let's get to the fun news. The Tigers' pitching roster is absolutely loaded. Number 1, the Tigers picked up left-handed pitcher Framber Valdez from the Astros. 3-year, $115 million contract. Highest paid AAV ever for a left-handed pitcher, as well as the highest for a Latin American pitcher. This guy is going to be a stud for the Tigers. Oh, but it don't stop there. The arbitration case happened for Tarek Skubal, and Skubal won. He'll be paid $32 million this year by the Tigers. This does not solve his contract dispute long term, but maybe it'll give them more motivation to keep him. Who knows? Oh, so we're going to have Valdez and Skubal. How much better could it get than that? Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Verlander's coming home. Justin Verlander, 1 year, $13 million contract. He is coming home to Detroit for the first time since 2017. He will put on an old English D. Now, folks, what this signifies, these three pitching signings signify, the Tigers are going all in for a World Series this year. Skubal on a 1-year deal. Verlander on a 1-year deal. Valdez a little longer than 1 year, but a solid pickup nonetheless. They're going all in. They're going to do whatever's necessary to win the World Series. At whatever cost it may come, they're going to try and get a ring. Now, they have pitching depth. The Tigers legitimately have a good 5-man starting rotation right now. Skubal, Valdez, Verlander, Herder, who was a stud near the end of the season last year, and Flaherty. Now, it was a 6-man rotation until recent news. Reese Olson's done for the year. Had another surgery. But that's okay. It's probably why they got Verlander to begin with. Now, it will become a 6-man rotation, though, when Jackson Jobe comes back from injury, which is projected to be around September. So, they have pitching depth, and that's going to be huge. Especially fan morale is going to be high. Justin Verlander's back. Skubal's still here, at least for now. Valdez should be good. So, if the hitting can produce, the Tigers are going to be legit. I'm pumped. I am so pumped. I actually cannot believe that freaking Tarek Skubal is going to be pitching alongside Justin Verlander on the Tigers this year. That's like 2 separate worlds of Tigers greatness combining into one. I grew up watching Justin Verlander pitch.
Now you know who we need? The other pitching god.
Who? What?
Trying to think of his name.
Huh?
He's the one guy that has one brown eye, one blue. Can't think of his name.
No idea who you're talking about.
Hold on, I'll look him up. I think he's on the Mets.
So the Tigers are loaded. That's all I had to say about the Tigers. Very, very hyped. Very, very hyped. The only other MLB news that I had, Javi Baez got suspended from the World Baseball Classic because he was doing weed. He was getting baked, so he couldn't participate. Now, there's been a lot of controversy around the World Baseball Classic, mostly because of that, but also because of the Puerto Rico team in general. They were dealing with roster issues so bad that they almost had to withdraw from the World Baseball Classic, despite being the host country. Doesn't seem like that happened. It seems like they were able to get it figured out, but pretty scary. Pretty scary, all things considered. But funny for Javi Baez. I think that's really funny. All right, we gotta wait for Garry to find this name.
No, go ahead. Continue.
Oh, that's all the baseball news that I had.
Just go on to the next one then. I'll keep looking.
No, we're gonna wait for you. Can't be that hard.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll try looking it up and then I'll say it for next year or next season or next episode with my brain. Brain.
All right, we don't have a whole lot to talk about in the other sports category today, except for NASCAR. NASCAR is back, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. First, this is the first NASCAR recap under the new format. Let's see how this goes. I'm not taking in-depth notes about each race anymore. I'm just not. Just so you know, not doing that. But the Clash. I did not get to watch the full Clash because it got pushed to Wednesday and I had to work. I did get to watch a fair amount of it, actually, though, because 17 cautions and 2 rain delays. Oh, Lord, what a doozy. It was funny as fuck. So many just random spins. The weather was terrible. Oh my god, the race took almost okay, folks, I just wanted to tell you how many caution flags and red flags there were in this race. A 200 lap race around a quarter-mile track, 50 miles, right? 50 miles took almost 4 fucking hours. 4 hours it took, almost, to complete 50 miles. That is horrendous. That is horrendously bad. When I turned on the race, I was flipping between the... Oh, shit, there goes my mouse. Flipped between the race and the basketball game on it was Wednesday night. And I saw that the race was barely half over, and it started an hour before the basketball game. And remind you, it was halftime of the basketball game. What the fuck? So objectively, this was a terrible race. I thought it was awesome, though. It was also a feel-good winner. Ryan Preece won, which is awesome. Good job, Ryan Preece. Feel-good winner. At least made things tolerable for the race. He gets into the New Year's Eve Spectacular for the very first time, I believe. He's going to be one of our race rookies. New Year's Eve Spectacular, he had 7 drivers qualify as past winners of the event. So Ryan Preece is the 8th driver to qualify into the New Year's Eve Spectacular this year. So good job there for Ryan Preece. Yeah, I don't know how much of the Clash you got to watch, Garry, but I don't know.
The last 9 laps.
Oh, good. But that was Clash. Crazy. Then there was a couple other NASCAR news that came through. Carson Hocevar has signed a long-term contract extension with Spire. Don't know what provoked that, but okay.
Michigan man.
And then Corey Heim. Corey Heim is going to be running 12 total races with 2311 in 2026. I believe it was just to start the Daytona 500, and now it'll be 12 races total. So about a third of the schedule. Not bad for Corey Heim. I think he deserves it. And also, Brad Keselowski is good to run the Daytona 500. That was just announced as well. So he's going to be back in the car just fine. That is all the NASCAR news for this week. Gary, you have a little bit of something in the other topics to end the day off.
Do you want to do our picks, though?
Are we still... we are still doing that. Fuck. Forgot about that.
Well, I'm going to go with trucks as Tony Stewart. So.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I'll go Tony Stewart trucks. I'll go Brandon Jones, Xfinity. Or O'Reilly. And then for the 500...
No, Xfinity. It's called Xfinity.
And then are we doing chips?
And then we'll do the Cup Series in a minute. I'm going to go for the Xfinity Series as... Let me see here. Parker Reslov in Viking Motorsports.
Parker Retzlaff.
Yes. And now it's time, guys. The moment you've been waiting for. Poker chip time. I still have them in this. Give me a second. I just realized, for some reason, I have lots of change in this 50th anniversary pin that I got.
Gary's just putting in his own. Gary's just putting in his own stuff now. Who's gonna win the Daytona 500? The Kalamazoo K-Wings.
I can get all these pennies out of the way. All right. Break them up. All right. And for Tyler, you will get... Ooh. Perfect way to start the season out for Tyler. Gets Chase Elliott. Okay. Please, at least William Byron or Kyle Larson. Please. That's all I'm asking. Or I'll just get the guy that's not going to win a single race for the rest of his career. Hey, look at that. We got 8-9.
Not funny.
It is a little bit.
Gary, you had one other piece of news that you wanted to share in the other topics channel. I'll let you finish it off.
So, as you guys know, I think, my cousin is a baseball player for the varsity team for the Hazlet Vikings. He just committed to a college, and this college is Henry Ford College. Now, here's the funny thing. He got me this hat, right? This one right here that I'm wearing.
Sure.
This was the team that he was going to go to in Kansas, but then he transferred. He got this for me before he transferred. So now I have to get a Henry Ford College hat. Anyways, what's cool about this is that he will get to play at the field where the old Tiger Stadium was. So just think of all the players that used to play at Tiger Stadium. He will be playing at that. So I'll get to watch him play at Tiger Stadium, technically. And I'm happy about it.
That's pretty cool.
He said he was a big Tigers fan, and, you know, he's always wanted to play at Old Tiger Stadium, and now he gets the chance. So that's just, I'm proud of him. Smith is now coming into our. Who knows? We'll probably be talking about him someday on this podcast. Maybe. Just think.
Okay, well, that's all that we had to talk about this week. Didn't dive into any bigger topics, which is fine because, oh well. A lot to talk about. Next week we will recap NASCAR action. The Daytona 500 is coming up this weekend, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. Gonna do, keep up with all the other sports in their action as well. But we do want to give a little preview because we are going on another hockey trip this weekend.
It'd be senior night. It's senior night. I just realized.
Yep, we are going. This is the third and final stop on this little, I want to see more hockey games impulse adventure. We're going up to Ferris State this weekend. We're going to see Ferris play Northern Michigan. It is their senior night, but we don't really care about either team. We're just going to be there to explore the campus, get a pin, see the arena, and have a good time. Gary's going with me. Jeffy was originally going to come as well, but it's going to be actually Eli coming with us because Jeffy had conflicting plans. So that should be fun. There will be a vlog. We're going to do a little Ferris campus tour plus the hockey game vlog. So that should be fun. Not really going to be, there's really fuck all nothing to do up in Ferris besides the campus. So we're not going to do any antiquing or anything. Just going to be the hockey game. So it should be a lot of fun though. I'm pretty excited. Gary's pretty excited. Eli's pretty excited. So it should be a good time. We'll talk about that next week as well. So I guess there will be a little bit of hockey stuff to talk about. I kind of lied earlier. But, oh well. So, with that being said, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Live, Laugh, Left podcast. Now that I do for sure have access to the channel back, this podcast will continue like normal going into the future. So with that being said, stay tuned for other much more amazing content, both here and on the Pringleson YouTube channel. And until next time, see you guys later. Goodbye.